I think we got something to cover. Carson, you want to say something about our past feature?
Yeah, I feel like someone else sat in this chair.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Were you cheating on me?
It meant nothing. Most business owners set their marketing budget by a gut feeling, and then quietly wonder why. Quiet on set, please, Mark. And then quietly wonder why the results don't match the spend. Are you spreading yourself too thin across too many channels? Doubling down on the wrong ones? Well, today we're going to be talking about how to actually decide where your marketing dollars go and what it costs when you get that wrong. I'm Josh, this is my co-host Carson, and on Marketing Fact, we dive into real marketing questions, give expert answers, and share actionable insights we've found to supercharge your marketing, working with 273 clients over the past 10 years. I keep saying I'm going to update that stat, and I have not yet. Carson, how do business owners actually decide how much to spend on their marketing? And why does this approach usually backfire?
I mean, if we were just taking the average business owner, they typically decide based on their gut, limited data, if they are using any, or like advice that they got from basic Google searches, friends or coworkers who might know something, anything like that. It typically fails because of a lack of, what do you call it? Like actual visibility into what maybe is working, isn't working. What I like to call is the worst thing that you can ever have, which is passable knowledge. You're good enough to be able to follow a conversation, but you're not fluent enough to really make a difference, right? It's like I say I can speak French. I can understand when French is spoken to me. I cannot respond in French, right? Am I fluent? No. Can I get by? Yes. But if I was in a room and I had to make a call in French and say something to save everyone's life, gun to the earth, it's not happening.
I haven't heard that gun to the earth example before.
It's definitely a safer version of what you typically hear.
Gun to the earth. Yeah, that's good. We're Canadian, by the way, so we can't have any big gun references here. No bueno north of the border. Okay, so let's dive into like a little bit more of like a contextual business example. Let's say I'm a business owner who owns a landscaping company, and I get most of my new clients through word of mouth and a little bit of Google. Mm-hmm. I spend about $1,500 a month right now on ads, but I'm not sure if I should be spending more, less, should be spending differently. How do I go about evaluating that?
First step would be to determine if the tracking that you have already put in place for this ads and any of your digitally earned business, is it set up correctly? Okay, so we can kind of go down two paths. You can go down the first path where we assume, yes, it is set up correctly. That's the shorter path where you go, if your tracking was set up correctly, you should be able to just kind of go look at your data points and go, yes, my ads are driving money into my business. Great. Or, no, they're not driving any business on my ads. Or on the flip side, no, your tracking's not set up correctly. You wouldn't be able to tell. You need to go and fix that first, right? On the side of the person who's like the tracking's set up correctly and you're doing ads, say, and you're like, okay, I'm driving business, but like the cost seems really, really high at $1,500 a month. Maybe they only got 10 deals, so that's $150 a deal. It depends on what the return on those leads were. Did you close 100% of them? Did you close 50% of them? On the 50%, did you close? How much did you make? Right? And that's where you have to start evaluating what your cost per lead is and whether or not it's viable at its state is. If you're like, man, everything's checking all the boxes, I'm getting leads, they cost enough for me to keep going and doing stuff, you should scale that. You should start adding more money to grow to assume more volume of leads if you can sustain it on a business side. If it's not, you need to pause what you're doing, pause the ads even, and evaluate what's happening and how you can, make it better, optimize it, or even go in a different direction that would be more profitable for you.
Okay. So speaking of that scenario being, hey, let's assume that your tracking works. Look at the data, understand if this is actually worthwhile to pour money into because it's actually making you money. What if I'm a business owner and I'm unsure if my tracking is set up properly? Am I getting clean data to make decisions? How do I go about understanding that side? Is my tracking actually working? And if it's not, what are the symptoms that are shown?
Okay. The easy answer to is your tracking working? Can you tell me with 100% confidence you would invest $10,000 today in your marketing the way it's set up because you have confidence it's working? If you do not have confidence that it is working and that's what's driving, and you can tell me what channel or what platform is driving your digital success with confidence, then you might not have confidence in your tracking. You should probably take a look at it. What signs can you give off that your tracking is not working? Well, we have a client, for instance, who came to us and he had tracking set up. He had all this stuff. It looked really, really clean. And then he goes, yeah, I'm getting lots of leads. And we look at it and we go, the leads in your CRM don't match what your ad platforms say. Your ad platforms say about 3 times what your CRM says, which means that something is triple counting. Well, your tracking is broken. We found out that he had something set up where it was double counting stuff the way that the attribution was. So a simple check. I like to call it the 3-point check, right? Check 3 pieces of data that should line up, right? So CRM, if you don't have a CRM, your email inbox where you get people's information would also be a secondary place. So how many leads did you actually receive? How many leads did your, say, ad platform say you had? And then if you have GA4 and Google Analytics, how many leads does it say came in from your website? Check those 3 things. If 2 of the 3 line up, then those pieces of data are probably correct. Which one's incorrect? Oh, is it your CRM? You probably have a tracking issue if your CRM has low or higher, right? You're either under tracking or over tracking. And say if it's the ad platform that's lower or higher, well, then there's a problem there. GA4, there's a problem there. You can kind of diagnose from there.
That makes sense. Okay, so observe the reality of what's actually happening for your business, and does your ad account say that? If it does not, then probably got to take a look at tracking.
Yes.
Okay, so how do I know when a marketing channel isn't just right for my business versus when I maybe just haven't given it enough time or maybe even the right budget to work?
That is such a loaded question.
It's a good question.
It's a good it's a good question. But so like we have clients who are in the B2B SaaS world. Okay. They deal with large, long-term sales cycles, and the majority of their clients are executive level. Okay. That person is not on Meta or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat looking for their next data analytics solution, right? But they do peruse LinkedIn. And this is where you get into the personas that you target. You should understand where those people are. And if you're on a platform that they are never on, you're in the wrong spot, right? It's also could be a thing of like, you're a plumber, okay? And you're running ads on Meta, but not running on Google. I would actually call that actually poor choice if you are like an emergency plumber. You deal with people who are like their wall is leaking, right? The wall is leaking, rain's coming down from the roof kind of thing. That person that is experiencing it in that home, they're Googling, right? Typing into a search engine, hey, plumber near me, because they need something fixed right away. As opposed to Facebook, which is, or even Meta, the rest of the platform, it's inherently a platform for discovery. How many products have you scrolled past that you've been like, oh, that looks really, really cool? My partner and I are expecting a little one. The amount of stuff that she is coming across in her feed that she goes, oh, this is kind of a cool little thing that we can get. That's just naturally discovered, right? But it's suitable for that situation versus the persona for that plumber, if they're an emergency plumber, would never be in that spot because they're actively doing intent-based searching. So you need to be on the intent-based platform.
I bought this sweater actually from a Meta shopping ad.
There you go. See,
it wasn't solving an immediate problem, but I discovered it and I was like, this is cool.
That's cool. When it comes to the budget half of that part of it, like you could straight up be not spending enough. It is not Like there is absolutely situations where you can get very, very good cost per leads or cost per sales on anything, and you can get it quite low. But depending on who you are and what your sales cycle is and what your persona's buying cycle or decision cycle is, it might take longer, which means that your costs might go up when you're kind of totaling it upwards, right? We have a construction business. Their cost per lead should be $150, almost like bang on $150. When they are performing well and everything's working and they're getting good amount of leads, it balances out to about 150. It'll go up and down, but that's where it lands, right? Why? They're a business that typical, home is anywhere from $100 to $1 million that they work on, right? So if the project's that big, $150 for a lead isn't too bad in context. Now, if you're selling a $20 hoodie or a $40 hoodie even, that would be insane.
Gotta sell a lot of sweaters.
Well, you would your cost per lead needs to be proper for
proportionate to actually the revenue you're collecting.
Correct.
Okay. This is an interesting question. When money gets tight, marketing is typically the first thing a business owner looks to cut.
Yes.
Is that the right call? Or does that actually make the problem worse?
So I'm biased. I'm biased as a marketer. I think that when you're sinking, throwing the pail overboard is silly, but it might be the cause of the holes in the thing. Like, so if you're a business where your marketing spend has just gone absurdly out of control and that's what's causing you to lose money and you're hemorrhaging money, yeah, stop, right? Like if you're like, man, I'm not getting any leads, but we're spending $10,000 a month, stop doing that. If you are getting leads, everything's coming at the right pace and you're still not making money, there might be another problem going on. For instance, we had a client who came to us and they were getting leads for the right price. They were, doing okay. But once they factored in the cost to manufacture their product, the cost to ship their product where they wanted to, because they wanted to expand into a different market, once they added in all these other business costs, it became very, very hard to justify doing the advertising. And in that case, then you go, well, unless one of those other parts of the formula can change, I guess, yeah, you shouldn't do this, right? And this is like any business, though. It's like, hey, actually, not even any business, any kind of major change you want to see. If I want to lose weight and not do anything to change that, will I lose weight? No. If I want to start going to the gym, start eating better, start, tracking my sleep and my caloric intake, I might start seeing improvements. But as I'm sure everyone's heard at some point, the all or nothing diets don't work because if you cut everything out, then you're bad. You regress, right? Mm-hmm. Everything in proportion, everything in moderation. Sorry, it's the right way of saying it. Mm-hmm. It's the same with marketing. Everything in moderation. Don't overspend and have no success. That's a bad idea. Where if your marketing's doing its job, that is essentially throwing the pail overboard when you're trying to pail the water out.
Okay, so as a business then, let's say a business that just has general seasonality. As you mentioned, just because things are going good, don't throw everything at your marketing. Don't overspend for the sake of overspending just because, hey, I got some money in my account. Be smart, be diligent with it. When things do tighten, how should businesses go through that thought process of not ditching everything, but how do I look at making it through a slower time, yet still building up a pipeline of leads, still bringing in more unknown people to my business that can potentially turn into customers? How do I navigate that tough waters?
If your business has true defined seasonality, you should be ramping up in the busy periods to obtain enough think of it like a squirrel squirreling away nuts. You should ramp up in the busy times, squirrel away enough revenue, money, whatever, so that in the slower periods, you don't need to turn everything off. Reduce the ad spend, right? Don't turn it off, but reduce the ad spend, right? Understand that you are going to go through a slower time. Maybe in the slow periods, move away from lead gen and go into brand awareness, or support what you're doing with maybe offers and something that might incentivize people to, do something in a period of time where volume might not be its best friend. That's when you truly have a seasoned business where you go through ebbs and flows like that. Absolutely, you need to do that in that situation. If you're a business that's affected by that, though.
So it's ultimately like expanding the time horizon of which you're actually looking at your marketing from. Not day by day, what can I spend today, this month, whatever, but like, hey, if I know a slow season's coming up, how do I prepare best? Sounds like the word strategy.
Strategy. I mean, okay, so let's take our construction company client again. Yeah, I love strategy. Let's take our construction company. No one's building houses in the winter, right? And over the holiday break, no one's really engaging with a construction company to go and start doing builds and planning and design work, right? It's the holidays. I don't want to do that. So we actually saw our construction client see a giant increase in impressions. Why? Well, you're home. So what do people start doing when they're home? They start looking, evaluating people, all that stuff. And then what did we see in January? Oh, their leads bounced back, and they actually saw an influx a little bit higher than what they were expecting for January, because all those people who did their searching and researching in the winter, in the December months, now it's January, now I'm back in my flow of stuff, let me start doing my outreach. And so it kind of ebbs and flows into it. But we also know that we reduced their spend then. Their business's seasonality isn't a surprise, right? Unless you're a brand new business and you've never done it before, right? Or you have no experience where you are or whatnot, you shouldn't have this happen. You should know what's coming, right? We have a realtor that we work with. He's like, hey, we need to push really hard right now because in the next 2 months, that's when everything needs to happen. Because after that, it's going to be steady, but the major time is now, right? He knows this about his business. So we plan for it.
My boy. I know who exactly you're talking about. Love that guy. How do I have a productive conversation with a marketing agency or vendor about budget without feeling like I'm being sold to, without feeling like I can take control, yet still arrive at what's best for my business, relinquish to experts, but also arrive at the best thing for me,
So it starts with understanding how you pay them. Okay. Some marketing companies get paid based on a percentage of the ad spend that they are managing. We are not. We have a flat monthly charge. That is just the labor to do the work. Your ad spend is separate to that for us. Why? Because when we work together like that, it's now a partnership where ad spend doesn't have this double-edged sword aspect to it where I'm asking you to increase it. Well, if you increase it, I get paid more. I usually ask people to increase their ad spend because it will be beneficial to their business. In the inverse, when I say, hey, you should decrease your ad spend, that is also beneficial to you, and there's no deduction or reduction to me. I've worked in for businesses where, hey, every time I go to have a conversation with this person, because we were paid a percentage of our ad spend, we were always told to make sure that we could try to find a way to increase ad spend. And a decrease in ad spend was like a giant red flag. That makes having that conversation extremely hard and actually awkward as hell. So if you're saying, hey, how do I have that and come out with the best thing? First, understand how you pay them, your marketing agency, whoever does your marketing, right? And if they are someone who is paid because of a percentage of their ad spend, be upfront about it. Just be like, hey, I understand that this is how it is, but you need to tell me what's best for my business because of this, this, and this. And if you still have a feeling that, hey, I don't know if I'm getting the straight goods, ask a second opinion.
Do you think marketing agencies, the marketing industry as a whole, is moving more towards the percentage of ad spend connected to results of a business or fixed flats like what we do?
No, the percentage of ad spend is going to be around for a very long time. The reason is that your work, right, to manage large and bigger and bigger amounts of money, to manage $500 in ad spend and to manage, $10,000 in ad spend are completely different. Okay, so typically you end up with those type of relationships because it affords how much work needs to be done by the ad agency, by the marketing team that's working on that stuff, right? Do I agree with that? No, because I think if you're very good at what you do and you scale your marketing business well enough, you can ensure that you charge a fair price for your flat monthly cost that make sure that you're covered regardless of ad spend, right? And if there's an extenuating circumstance where it's like, hey, if we had a client who came to us and said, you're going to manage $1 million in ad spend, that person's going to get a very significantly different type of agreement with us because their expectation of what you do with that large portion of money is very different than our average small business owner who's like, hey, I have $10,000 in a month. I want to manage an ad spend. We'll do that for the same amount as we spend for two. Mm-hmm. But the point of it is that we get a partner relationship where you never have to have that awkward conversation with us about your ad spend.
What's the single biggest budget mistake you see business owners make? And how do they course correct?
Biggest one? The biggest one is not spending enough for your industry. Okay? It's very, very easy to Google like what my cost per lead should be, what, all these different things are. AI nowadays can give you some answers and then go, that's who I am. And then not understand the factors that affect you. For instance, if you are we have a client who does, handy services. They're just a handyman service client. They have a very low cost per lead. Okay. Very low cost per lead. It's very, very good. But if they wanted to say, go and expand into, bigger projects outside of what they currently do and move towards maybe the renovation stuff, they start bringing into a new audience, that cost per lead goes up. As the cost per product goes up, that would drive their money up. Well, if they want to do that, now you need to spend more to do that, right? And maybe they're not prepared to because they've been established on this is what my cost of lead is. Other instances are not understanding that, hey, some of the information that's out there might not be prevalent to how much competition's in your area, right? Is there a unique factor about population density? Is there just enough people, right? Things of that nature can also affect what you're doing with your money. The only other major mistake I see with people is what we call diminishing returns, where they just want more and more and more, but the cost to get the next couple leads just jacks your price up so much where you should be going and looking at a different avenue in that instance.
Ooh, what are those different avenues? If I'm getting different diminishing returns, I've got what I can out of a particular campaign, channel, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. How do I go broader to bring in more leads and revenue for my business without then getting into the cascade of like, hey, this was working, I went elsewhere, and now this doesn't.
So what work should be left, right? Managed, optimized, and maintained. You go back to your persona. You go, what channels are they on? Great, I'm not on this channel, they are. That channel has a specific way to work through it, to go through it. Go and do that effort. And then understand that the return from that channel will be different than the return on the established one. Because it's a different world, right? Imagine turning on TikTok ads and trying to treat them the same you do on Google ads.
Crazy.
They won't. They're different.
Crazy, Mark. No one should do that. Mark did that.
Mark is just doing stuff now.
Mark's running some TikTok ads for himself. Fantastic. Amazing. Well, that's it for today. Every episode we put out is built on real, hard-won lessons from the trenches, helping our clients grow, win, and connect with the people they're here to serve. If you found this valuable, subscribe on your favorite platform and check us out at setsail.ca to learn more about how we can help your business grow. Clack the thing.
Clack the thing.
Clack the thing.